What is up, watch friends? Welcome to another episode of Talking Timepieces with Tony. Today I am wearing my Rolex 124060 Submaster. Submariner, no date. Anyway, so we're here to talk about it. This might be a little bit of a long video, but I get asked a question a lot, and I'm going to talk about how do I afford the watches I have. It's going to be a little bit long. If you're not into it, just skip it, man. But I appreciate everyone who views. Please like, subscribe, watch the video, and I really hope you enjoy it because it's going to be an interesting one. You're watching Timepieces with Tony. All right, so obviously not so much watch video, but how do I afford my watches and my, everything? A lot of people know that I'm in the music industry. I've been in the music industry almost my whole life. However, I still have a recording contract and a publishing deal, but the money in music is not like it used to be. And back in the day, you could tour, session work, and, legit music stuff. I'm not talking about playing the clubs, like things like that. But the thing is when I turned, I don't know, I was in my mid 30s, I was just getting really burned out with music. I stopped enjoying it. I always said, if you don't enjoy what you're doing anymore, don't do it. And then by the time I turned 40, I was done. I was looking for something else to do. Through long story, happenstance, and a very weird narrow of opportunity led me to become what I am today, full-time as an insurance investigator. I work in a lot of fraud. I'm a fraud investigator. And that's really where I'm at. So I'll give you an insight on what I do and where I started. It's a very stressful job. It can be very rewarding. I know a lot of people see me sitting on the couch, dude, bro, whatever. Okay, but when I'm at work, I have to be very articulate. You have a creative side of your brain, and then you have your, intellectual side of your brain, left brain, right brain. When I get home and I do these videos, I shut off my intellectual side of the brain and I turn on stupid mode. And that's what I call my regular everyday, just where I don't have to be articulate. I don't have to enunciate my words properly, speak with the correct diction like I do at work. I deal with a lot of attorneys. I deal with law enforcement. I deal with other investigators, and I also deal with detectives. I deal with everything from your basic, like say auto accident, something like that in nature, to criminal activity, high-speed chases. I've had very famous high-speed chases that were my cases I've worked on. And I've dealt criminal vehicle-to-vehicle shootings, drive-by shootings, and I have to investigate those claims as to what part of that does the person that we may be insuring have a role in. And if the person in the vehicle that was shot, for instance, I have to determine, do we have any liability on what this person's injuries are? And basically, we determine on how much money, if there's any money that's going to be paid out. We have to know about what's called exposures, how the policy works, policy limits, and I have to understand, of course, legal documents, things of that nature, police reports, read daily. How I got into this was very unique. I initially started as a temp many years ago. Then I became an underwriter. I was more fascinated with, I wanted to be a cop when I was younger, and not just a street cop, but I wanted to be, work in the homicide division, work my way up, and then get into the FBI or CIA, something of that nature. But that didn't work that way, and that's fine. Eventually, I got into the claims department. I worked as a subrogation adjuster. That's basically after the insurance company pays out and someone else owes that money back to the insurance company, you essentially go after that person, party, other insurance carrier, whatever it is, to get that money back. We're doing that for quite some time. After that, I moved on. I worked for a big law firm for many years, 3 years actually, a big legal firm in medical subrogation law. So I had extensive training in medical subrogation law. I had to study all the laws in all 50 states, including Hawaii, and pass many legal exams, things like that. And it was tough. It was a lot of work, but I pushed through it and I was successful. Left that law firm, went back to where I initially started, and worked my way up to where I am now. I am not only a fraud investigator, I am also a negotiator. So in essence, I negotiate with other insurance carriers. I then in turn have to, if that insurance carrier refers that file, that case to their attorneys, then I negotiate with their attorneys. I have to protect sometimes our insured from a potential lawsuit. I'm really good at making lawsuits go away. But I also have to determine cause, and I have to also determine whether you're lying to me when I'm interviewing you, you know? And it seems like it's easy, right? When you're dealing face to face with someone, you can tell there's certain reactions, the way that your body reacts when a question's asked, if you're going to be lying to me or not. When you're doing it all on telephone, that's a whole different element. So apart from on-the-job training, a lot of the extensive training I've had additionally is through the National Insurance Crime Bureau. They have an academy which is called NICTA, which is the National Insurance Crime Training Academy. So I'm going to show you some of my certificates and awards that I have. Now, keep in mind, remember when I was doing Drinking a Rant, I was ranting on Paul Thorpe's videos about how the police aren't investigating, they're not doing that. The thing is sometimes when you give out too much information, you could hinder, it could be a detriment to the investigation by giving out too much information. That's why most people, a lot of people are couch investigators. They sit on their couch and they this and that and this and that. Until you're in it, you're in that line of fire, you don't know anything about it. And it's not as easy as what you may think. When you're investigating, whether it's something very simple or a criminal investigation, your best asset is the ability to listen, identify a red flag when you're asking questions, be able to ask the same question multiple times without them knowing you're asking the same question. And more often than not, you'll get different answers for the same exact question. Okay, so having said that, I like doing that. I love doing that. And even though I still have a recording contract and publishing deal, granted, it has paid for some of my watches with the money. You know, I get royalties, but I'm working constantly. I'm working a lot. When I'm coming home and I'm doing music or whatever it is, I'm doing music. When I'm doing these videos, you know, a lot of times I don't even have time to do them, but I make time and I do them because I love doing it and I love talking about watches. What inspired me to tell you this? A lot of it has to do with, you know, when people were talking about all the fraud and or the watch crime and all that stuff, because I'm trained in that too. So, but when I, you know, have a lot of law enforcement that watch my channel, and it inspired me to come out and say, hey, look, this is what I do, because I work directly with law enforcement as well. Like I said, I'm going to show you some of these certificates. Now, the tape that I put on is to cover the name of the company I work for, because I can't give out too much information. I work Southern California, Northern California, and I work a lot in this area. And so I can't, there's obviously certain things I can and can't tell you. So, but I'm going to just show you some of these. These are certificates. This is from National Insurance Crime Bureau. Most of them are NICTA, National Insurance Crime Training Academy. This is a certificate for policy limit fraud. You know, if anyone who has an insurance company or an insurance policy, you've got a policy limit. That means how much money does your policy have on it to pay out in, for instance, in an auto accident, whatever type of thing it may be, there's a certain amount of money that's on your policy. We have to know more than anybody in the insurance industry, in a sense that the person who sells you your policy, they might know what all these coverages are, but they don't know how they're applied, how they're used, and how the investigation determines whether or not there's going to be coverage on those exposures. Okay, so this next one is for important aspects of motorcycle accident litigation. It's not a big deal, that one. You know, it's pretty straightforward, that kind of stuff. This next one is, again, excuse me. These are all from National Insurance Crime Bureau, National Insurance Crime Training Academy. This one's for listening for deception in claims interviews. So this is how you identify, what you learn about how someone's telling you the truth or if they're not telling you the truth. And then when, if someone's not telling you the truth, they're called red flags. And you get enough of them, also we work with the Department of Insurance. All insurance companies are governed by the Department of Insurance, and they have their detective agency as well. And again, if someone's lying to you, how does that person get prosecuted? A lot of people get prosecuted. A lot of people don't understand the repercussions of what insurance fraud is. It's a crime. Trust me. The smallest little thing that you lie about. Now, granted, if you say that, it could be something very small that you're just kind of exaggerating. Well, this dent, it wasn't there before, now it's there, and it was. That's just bullshit. It's like a kid stealing a candy bar from a candy shop. Is it a crime? Yeah. Is it illegal? Yeah. Is anything going to happen? No. Slap on the wrist. Take your kid home, give him a spanking, whatever it was. This one is for California SIU requirements. SIU is Special Investigations Unit. You have to learn all aspects of that. Also, how to work within law enforcement. And I don't keep all these at my house. I have a lot of them in the office as well, in my office. This is hit well parked fraud. Parked unoccupied vehicles, huge fraud in the state of California. People say their vehicle's parked when it's not. We know how to identify not only the red flags when I'm interviewing you, but when we look at the vehicle, we can I'm not an appraiser, and I can't tell you. I can sit there and say, hey, it looks like it wasn't parked, but I don't know. That's not my position. But I will refer to an appraiser that can determine that. All right. Most people, when they call in a claim, they call in, they get to a call center, and they listen to that person. That person sounds like an investigator, and they're like, they're giving them all kinds of shit. What I do is I listen to that initial call in before I talk to them to see if there's any red flags there that they don't identify red flags. That person's lying all day to them. They don't know. It gets to me. I listen to it, and I can identify red flags within that initial call in. And if I have enough of them to call this, I will. And of course, I'm always very calm. People be like, fuck you, whatever the shit. Stay calm. Right? The less experienced people will get uptight, and they'll, you've been doing it long enough. You just let them talk. The best ability you can have is not only curiosity, but the ability to listen and just listen. You got to know when to cut it off, but you get the idea. This next one, give me a second. I apologize. Huge apology. Get that piece of tape, put it over here. So this next one is investigating organized groups. Organized groups are, this could be insurance fraud. Attorneys work with doctors, attorneys work with these people that put a bunch of people in a car or don't, and they stage accidents. And you have to basically investigate all of that. There's a lot to it, a lot more than what you might think. Could be also with vehicle fraud, vehicle theft. It could be catalytic converters, which is a huge thing in the state of California. So there's a lot of that, and there's a lot more to all of this than me just trying to do a short video. This is California Department of Insurance training program. Yeah, we have to know about the California Department of Insurance and how that works. We have to be trained in all aspects of insurance, fraud particularly, of course. This one's another good one. This one is shit. Sorry, I apologize. I'm trying to get through this as quick as I can so you don't lose interest. But this next one is called mysterious disappearance. This is basically when, mysterious disappearance. You have fine jewelry, Rolex watch, all of a sudden it's lost, stolen. I don't know what happened. It just disappeared. You have to identify whether or not that's the case. If it was in fact mysteriously disappeared, or if there's red flags to say, hey, we think this guy set this up, you know. So having insurance on your watch and thinking that you're just going to file a claim for $10,000 because you can't sell it or whatever happens, trust me, and you call that insurance company and you get an investigator like me contacting you, and you legit did not lose that watch, you're going to get caught. Okay, simple as that. The next one is medical and legal aspects of bodily injury claims. We have to learn about when people are injured in whatever type of accident it may be. Is that treatment? Is it legit treatment? Is it exaggerated? Is it stacked billing? Is it? There's a lot to that too. This one, next one, and this will just be the last one. This is body shop fraud. Okay. Body shop fraud is huge. Body shops are shady as fuck. Not all of them, most of them. Sorry, but you know, there's so much to that as well. Anything from an accident, that tow truck that takes it to a shop, to whatever it may be. We tell everyone, insureds or claimants, they have to mitigate their damages. We do everything we can the right way. In order, people think that insurance carriers are just out to not pay, and that's just not the case. It's what's reasonable and what's fair, and if it's owed. And at the same time, people get upset and they feel that the world owes them a living and every little freaking thing with it. People spend too much time watching daytime TV and, you know, all those attorney commercials, and that's all. Trust me, it's not how it works, man. You ain't gonna get rich off this shit. So if that's what you're looking to do, it's just, unless you're legitimately, you know, whatever. So I deal with all aspects of fraud and in the insurance industry. I still do music. I still make money with music, but in a sense, this is what I do as my bread and butter. This is how I afford the majority of what I buy and what I do. It's a very stressful job. I have to interview multiple claimants, witnesses, again, with all the attorneys, a lot of really pissed off people. I have to diffuse situations. At that time, I come home. Do I want to do a watch video? Not always, man, you know? And do I always want to practice or work on music? No. And especially if I have a project that the record company wants me to do with selling a couple of songs, I have to have these songs, whatever. I have to do it regardless. So I'm constantly always working. Anyway, this video is long, and I hope this was informative for you. And I hope you got something from it. And if you have questions, ask me. There's certain things I cannot talk about or will talk about, but I do appreciate it. I love all you guys, and you guys have a great day. We'll see you on the next one.